Who's number 2 in the Big 12? We've established now that Texas Tech, according to SP Plus, national championship level good. Who's number 2 in the Big 12? Who is going to be the closest challenger here? I think that is a fascinating discussion. It's completely wide open. I do have an opinion, and my opinion actually here is backed up by Bill Connolly's S&P Plus at ESPN. But I'm curious what others think, because SP Plus would tell you Utah is number 16. It would tell you that Utah is number 2 in the Big 12. Beyond that, BYU is at 23, and we're getting all the way down to 30 for Cincinnati. And as I said, Utah, and as I was going through this and like, okay, who do I think is actually number 2 here in the Big 12 right now? I thought Cincinnati would be the team that would have the biggest beef with me going out and saying that about Utah. But I really do think for Utah, they just had to play Texas Tech first. And that changed the way that we viewed them because Texas Tech ran through them. But Utah could absolutely be the second best team in the league, even by a significant margin, and still be that far behind Texas Tech. I do think that is very much possible based on the talent level on Tech's roster. But here's why Utah's far behind. Utah doesn't have nearly as many ways to beat you as Texas Tech does. If you shut down Utah's rushing offense and you make Devin Dampier have to beat you, we saw what will happen. That's exactly what Texas Tech did. And Devin Dampier doesn't have the arm right now to beat you, and eventually Tech wore them down. But I think other teams in the league could do it, although maybe not a ton of teams, because like Arizona State, I thought had one of the better defenses in the league. And man, Arizona State just got mowed down. 7 drives in the game, 6 of them touchdown drives for Utah. I mean, just crazy, unbelievably efficient. And Arizona State could not stop them at all. Dampier only had to throw the ball 12 times. That's a recipe for a Utah win every single time. So who can do that in the Big 12? Who could shut down the run game and force that? Well, I do think BYU is a candidate because of the defense that the Cougars have, and we're going to find that out on Saturday, which I'm incredibly excited to find out the answer to that. But they will have a chance. They will have a chance to do that. Every team here I'm about to rattle through, like other contenders, everyone has flaws, right? Cincinnati, like I said, probably has the best argument because of the way that they just dog walked Iowa State. I know it wound up being a closer game final score wise than that, but they're up 24 on them. Controversial pass interference call kind of keeps Iowa State in the game. And yeah, Iowa State looks like a shell of itself right now. More on that in a moment. But combine that with the win over Kansas on the road, I think Cincinnati has done some impressive things. They were just okay on Saturday, big first half against UCF, and then just sort of parked the bus and hung on in the second half, but was never really in threat of going away. Cincinnati is legitimately pretty good, but the problem with Cincy is when you're talking about weaknesses and how can you beat them? How many ways do they have to beat you? Cincinnati's got the 15th ranked pass defense in the Big 12 right now. Offense I think is great. Their running game especially has been great, but I just don't know if that defense can hold up enough. Arizona State, I thought, man, they seem to be rounding back into form. Things look great. They've got a quarterback that I just love watching because I think he's like the most determined dude in the league and just plays his ass off. But now Sam Leavitt's hurt. They've got Texas Tech this week. We don't know yet whether or not Sam Leavitt is going to play in that game. And there's all sorts of problems about the defense. Like that game in Salt Lake was about more than just Sam Leavitt's injury. Arizona State's got a lot of issues that now have popped up, and their margin for error will be gone if they lose to Texas Tech this weekend, which, I mean, seems like that's going to be a very tough putt. BYU, I mean, there's some good things happening there, but it already seems like, you heard Michael's comment to start the show, like BYU's already playing with fire. Got down 14-0 at Colorado, went think about this, 2.5 quarters without scoring against Arizona, and had to just pull that one out of the fire, even with a critical Bear Bachmeier fumble that they were very lucky to get back on. I'm still in a phase of I don't trust that offense to be good enough to run through and be the second best team in the Big 12 right now. We'll see. Utah's a 2-point favorite early in the Holy War game. I do think that'll be knockdown, drag out. I think that'll be a total battle. but there's BYU. Iowa State and TCU, I'm putting them in the same boat because they just put together horrific efforts, bad games. Maybe horrific is a little strong for Iowa State, but they laid eggs. They certainly laid eggs on Saturday. Just not consistent enough. Very flawed. TCU's offense, honestly, has not fallen off a cliff, but it's been a little more disappointing. Not just the sloppiness, but not as effective from like a success rate standpoint lately. There are just a lot of issues. And Iowa State's totally beat up. Iowa State is totally beat up right now. They feel like a shell of themselves. Here's a team that's just lurking. Baylor. What a week for Baylor, right? They hang out. They watch Iowa State and TCU lose. Good for them, not just from a standing standpoint, but TCU being their rival. And now TCU feeling beat up going into that game this weekend, a rivalry game. I mean, Baylor's 2-1. They're still right here. They've got an explosive offense, but my problem with Baylor, the defense. They gave up 27 to Oklahoma State. They gave up 34 to K-State. That's in back-to-back weeks. So I don't know if Baylor's defense would make me confident enough to say, oh, yeah, Baylor, second best team in the Big 12. And Houston, I mean, Houston's sitting there with just one loss, and that loss was to Texas Tech. And if you go look at Houston's schedule, I do think it's pretty manageable. But I got to see Houston beat somebody good this year. It's a market improvement from where their program's been to get to 5-1 right now. But I need to see them beat somebody better. We have not seen that yet this year. And I worry about their offense against a great defense. I mean, we saw what happened against Texas Tech. They got beat up. Their quarterback got knocked out of the game. Not everybody's going to be Texas Tech, but Utah is on that schedule, I believe, for Houston. You know, they've got to play BYU. BYU certainly would be capable of beating them up. So every team has flaws here. Every team has flaws that we're talking about for number 2. Texas Tech, I guess it's not like it's totally flawless. Baron Morton's health is certainly an issue. And Will Hammond does not look like it's going to be, just plug and play 100%. Let's go like it was at Utah every single time now. So there are some things that can be attacked for Texas Tech, I suppose. But relative to the rest of the Big 12, they're about as close to flawless as you could get. I mean, they are certainly in a much better spot than anybody else in the league. So there are my thoughts. And Pacific Northwest U, I know you want to weigh in on this. I'm going to get Bob. I'm going to get to Pacific Northwest U first here because, Bob, you're going to lead me into the next segment on the show. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Please, if you want to submit a super chat, click the $ below the chat box to do that. Thank you, everybody who does. It is much appreciated. Like the video. That's totally free. It helps. Subscribe to the channel. That's totally free. It really helps. Subscribers have been going way up lately. So thank you to everybody. If you're new to the channel, I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the Open for Business Big 12 newsletter at ofbnews.com as well. 5,000 plus Big 12 fans already have. It's totally free. It comes to your inbox twice a week. Pacific Northwest Ute says, we'll learn more about number 2 on Saturday. And November 1st, Bearcats down. Okay, so I assume, is that Utah, Cincinnati? Let's see. We are definitely going to learn more about number 2 on Saturday, not just for the Holy War, but for the entire schedule that's going on. And then the Cincinnati-Utah game is on November 1st. You are correct. And that is going to be played in Salt Lake. That's at Rice-Eccles. So tough one for Cincinnati there. But guys, to Pacific Northwest Utes' point, have you looked at the Big 12 schedule this week? Big 12 schedule this week is very, very enticing, okay? Arizona-Houston. I mean, it starts early. Arizona-Houston, really good game. Baylor-TCU coming out of the chute at 11 a.m. also. Then you've got Texas Tech at Arizona State, that your big 3 o'clock on Fox game, which is going to lead into Utah-BYU. Cincinnati's got to go to Oklahoma State, and then West Virginia-TCU. But there are 4 really important games involving all those teams I just talked about, right? 8 of those teams. We'll learn a lot more on Saturday for sure as this continues to evolve. Pacific Northwest U, thank you, my friend.